The B2S Podcast is brought to you by Motivated Apparel. Motivated Apparel, the premier gear for motivation. A brand that motivates, inspires, and empowers you to stay motivated while chasing your dreams. Head on over to www.shiftmotivations.com/shop Motivated Apparel and grab yourself some Motivated Apparel today.
What's up, world? Hey, welcome to the first episode of the Blueprint to Success podcast. And I'm your host, Mike Mariner, a.k.a. the Shift Motivator, joined with my co-host, my brother from another mother, Mr. Alxndr. What up, Alxndr?
What's poppin'?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Along with my co-host here, my brother from the same mother, Boy Wonda.
What's that in there?
Yeah. Hey, man, it's been a long time coming, right?
Bruh, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time coming, man. It's been in the works for a couple years, ain't it?
Yeah.
3 years.
At the least.
At the least.
At the least.
3 years,
At the least, yeah. So we just wanted to go ahead and get started, man. Sometimes, you know, we got to think that things are perfect and everything got to line up before we actually get started. But sometimes it's just getting started, you know?
That's it. Everything else start coming after that.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I was saying, it ain't how you start, but it's how you finish.
Facts.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is just the beginning phase. This is just the ground phase. And so we're excited to bring you guys the first episode of the Blueprint to Success podcast. So how y'all feeling today, man? How y'all feeling today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We had went to church this morning.
All right.
We had serve day, so
Yeah.
we were out in the community and doing yard work. The church actually came to our house too.
Oh, cool,
They
man.
pressure washed. They
Yeah.
fixed on the stuff on the roof. I was on the camera team because last year I was out there with the shovel. Like, yo, I'm on the camera team this year, so my day popped off. It was smooth.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, starting the day
really
off
dope.
right, man. Helping other people, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So good. Well, I'm out, man, and this first episode, man, we want to just kind of talk with y'all about, man, the power of momentum. The power of momentum, man. That's a mouthful in itself, man.
For sure.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm open up the dialogue with a question, man. So when it comes to momentum, what does that mean to y'all? What do y'all? What when it comes to momentum, what does it mean to y'all?
To me, progression. And you know what?
Ooh, that's good. Progression.
It's not like, you know, like when you hear progression, you might hear like what people like think like, always up in the level and always. Sometimes progression means taking a step back to reactivate your view on things.
Wow.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have to move back to realign what needs to be realigned so you can go back into the mode of whatever. So for
Right.
me, when I hear momentum, I hear, you know, progression. Everybody got different movement, different progression, bro.
Right.
Nobody's gonna move at the same speed as somebody else.
Right.
It just don't work like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's path is different. Everybody's calling is different. Like what Doug might do in 5 years, it might take me 10.
Right.
What you might do around your house in an hour, it might take me 2 weeks to do.
Right.
So everybody movement is different. But when I
Right.
hear about momentum, I hear about progression. Like
Right.
what are the things that is happening in your life that you are doing on a consistent basis that's helping you get to where you want to go? That's to me, that's progression.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying when I hear about momentum. So
Yeah.
that's what I think about it to me. You feel
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. Man, that's good stuff, man. I'm gonna let Dub chime in
Yeah.
before.
I like that because it's when you hear momentum, it's continuous.
Oh yeah. That's good.
It's like a tsunami.
Yeah.
Like it's not something like
Yeah.
we say stop.
Right.
You know, momentum. It sounds like it's just a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
So I love that, and it's just like how he was saying the progression. The more you progress and the more consistent you are with your progression, the momentum you gain.
Yeah.
Because it's like a level of constant going up.
Yeah.
That's how I feel it is for me.
Yeah.
So I look at just from how we're starting this from the ground up.
Right.
We constantly get momentum.
Right.
Your book, momentum.
Right.
Another book, momentum.
Right.
Another book, momentum. So it's just the constant continuation of what you're called and your purpose.
Right.
What you're doing. It just keep going as long as you keep going.
Right. Right.
Hold on, Mike. What? So Dub, like,
Go ahead.
So you've been doing, a hip hop artist who was a Christian for about 15, 16 years, right? So how do you, like, when did you know you were starting to hit momentum, and when did what did the change in your momentum feel like? Year after year after year after year, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did you know when it was time to either slow your momentum or speed it up? Like, how did you know?
Well, for me, with the momentum, I allowed God to be God in my life, first off. And then, two, I made sure I didn't compare what everybody else was doing and where they were. Gotcha. I was focused on what I was doing and how I can get to my next step and my next move. So I would say my first bit of momentum, 2009, 2010, when I signed to Real World Records. I felt like that was a big push because they was doing stuff that I couldn't do.
Right.
So my biggest momentum record in that time was it being constantly played on Jam the Hype, Put in the Air. Like, for that to be constant 6 weeks.
Yeah, that was that joint, man.
And number one for 6 weeks straight that they had to retire it. That's huge. And then another big momentum is when I was starting to get into the industry market aspect of things when it comes to the award shows. And then finally get nominated. So that's another big momentum. So just seeing how each year was getting bigger was showing me that the momentum was getting bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew.
Yeah. Man, just listening to both of y'all, man, it's actually, y'all hit the definition of what I would think momentum would is. Both of y'all hit on it. It's a continuous progression. It's a continuous progression. And you know, when I first came out doing like motivational speaking and stuff like that, so I had like some knowledge of the industry, just, you know, being in business, you know, being in the insurance business and stuff like that. It put me around different people in different segments that not only did insurance, but they did stuff outside of insurance. Exactly. And so I was able to learn from that. So I didn't actually like come into it totally blind, because I knew that I had to have a platform to launch when I had the idea of writing my first book. So the momentum, it started with a thought. So the thing is, we can't get stuck in thought. Right. So a lot of times we get stuck in the thought process because we're trying to figure out the how because I don't have the resources. Or I'm trying to figure out the how because I don't feel like I'm adequate or have everything that I need to get started to do what I need to do. So at the end of the day, if I'm continuously progressing, I won't let that stop me. Because at the end of the day, if I let that thought remain a thought, then it's just going to remain a thought and never becomes into fruition. Oh. You know what I'm saying? So, because like when you think about the word shift, right? When I had, it wasn't my first job. I forgot which job it was, but I didn't like job hop. I usually stayed on the job for a couple years before I realized the system. Exactly. So, you know, back then in the 90s, they'll be quick to give you a quarter raise or a 15-cent raise, you know, back in the 90s when we was working, you know, and tell you you're a good employee, you know, you're good, and then they throw a quarter at you and be like, what's that? So, exactly. But for the most part, I would stay on the job, you know, consistently until I figured out, okay, y'all ain't finna play me like that. So, I started this one company I started with this one company, right? And I never knew how to drive a stick. So our dad knew how to drive a stick because he always kept, you know, bugs around. So, but I never asked him to teach me how to drive one. So I took this one job, and part of the job is I had to drive this truck, which was a stick shift. So me and the guy that taught me how to drive a stick, man, we actually became really good friends. And so, and basically they were actually scheduling training time for me to go. So we would just go out to this big abandoned field. And so I can't hit nothing. I can't mess nothing up. Nope. And so it was kind of funny because, boy, I jackknifed that truck because I was trying to get the gears right. it felt like I had hit a button with some hydraulics on it because the truck was like, it was jackknifing.
Jerking.
And he was like, no, you say you fine. No, you got to. You know, rub some gears, scrub some gears. That's how you going to learn. I'm like, man, I don't want to mess these folks' truck up because I can't afford to pay them. It was like, nah, you ain't got to worry about that. It's like, man, this is part of the learning process, right? And so eventually I learned how to shift, and I learned how to drive a stick pretty good. And my point is that I wanted to paint that picture is because, first of all, I had a coach. I had a trainer, right? And he told me it was okay to mess up. And so sometimes we don't feel like it's okay to mess up, and we get stuck in that, what I said, getting stuck in thoughts, because we're scared to fail. We're scared to fail. So instead of me failing, I won't even start. Instead of me going into another relationship because this dude messed me over or that girl messed me over, I'm not gonna do it. And so we throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so, and what I learned is what you was talking about earlier, right? Was sometimes having to slow down, but you keep going, right? So one of the things when you're shifting is when you come upon a steep hill, you have to shift down. You can't shift up. Because in order to shift down, it gives you the momentum for that vehicle to get the strength and the power that it was created to have to pull a certain weight. Yep. But you got to know that in order to do it. And so what we got to remember to tell the people that you just got to, like that's my whole brand, Shift Motivations. You got to know when to shift. There's a difference between quitting and shifting.
Yep. And adjusting.
And adjusting. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let y'all take it from there because I see your head going. Yeah. So we're talking about shifting and adjusting. So they're not quitting, because quitting, that means I stopped completely. I'm not doing anything. I'm frustrated. Things not going my way. I don't have the money. She ain't treat me right. He ain't treat me right. So I'm just going to throw it in, at the end of the day. But you can't grow by just throwing it in, right? Nope. So, but if I learn how to shift, which is going to require me to grow, then if that relationship doesn't work out, if that job doesn't work out, my ability will always work out. No matter how many jobs I have, no how many relationships I go through, my ability is always going to work out because I put myself in a position to grow. Right? So check this out, right? And then I'm gonna let y'all have it. All right. I think it was doing one of our cousins' wedding. I think we was going to Tallahassee. I don't either T or no, it might have been Otis. But we was on the road. We was on the highway. Okay. Right. The big man started talking to me while I was driving. Guy started talking to me, right? And I'm just driving. So
hold on, you call him big man?
Yeah, I call him the big man. Big man, okay. Yeah, I call it the big man. Okay. Yeah, I call it the big man.
I like that.
And so I'm driving. We got a trail, and I'm just driving. I'm cruising, right? So I'm behind this car, right? Now, mind you, let's just say I'm going 75 miles an hour, right? Didn't increase my speed, but I'm behind this car. And it's like God just started talking to me. So it was like, either I can stay behind this car at 75 miles an hour, or I can shift lanes, pass the car, and keep going, and get to where I'm trying to go faster, right? So I decided to shift lanes. Here's the thing that God enlightened me on. I never increased my speed.
Hold on. So you saying
I never increased my speed. I'm going 77, and I knew what God was doing, so I purposely watched my speed limit because I knew what He was trying to get me to see. So I purposely did not increase my speed limit. I said, I'm finna see this, because I felt like He was telling me to shift. And it is not necessarily about speeding up, but about changing lanes, and it's gonna put you right back in the lane that you were supposed to be in the first place.
Exactly.
So I'm going 75 miles an hour behind this car, right? And I did not increase my speed. I kept the same speed. All I did was shift lane, and the momentum from the car helped me pass that vehicle. And then I just shift right back over to the right lane, because left lane is technically only the passing lane. Yeah. And I thought that was just profound. That right there showed me how powerful momentum is, because I did not have to increase my speed in order to gain momentum. All I did was change lanes. And I ended right back in the same lane I was supposed to be in the first place. But sometimes we got to make that shift, or that downshift, or whatever it is in our lives, in order to get to the place where we were supposed to be destined to be in the first place.
Okay, so what happens if a person don't know how to shift, or if a person don't know how to pick up speed, like what should I do if I don't know how to, like if I'm going 50 and I need to go 75, but I'm afraid to go 75. But I know I need to go, but every time I done went 75, I done wrecked my car. But at this point in time, I know I need to go 75, but I'm going 50. So what do I need to do to help me to go 75 so I can change the momentum in my position in my life? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I need to do? Like, what type of thought process? What type of what do I need to do to help me go there? You know what I'm saying?
That comes with going back to that example where the guy was teaching me how to drive the stick shift. You have to put yourself in a position to be okay to fail. And I just had this conversation with my youngest daughter the other day. Just matter of fact, yesterday actually, last night. And she asked me, she said, how do you become, basically I'm gonna put it in my own words because she said it in her way, so I'm gonna put it in a way so I can explain it.
Right.
Basically, how can I put myself in a position to be okay with failing? So that's pretty much like the same thing.
Okay.
And so, and I told her, I said, you just have to be okay with it and learn that it seems cliche because we hear a lot of this, but honestly, you have to be okay with it being part of the process, right? Edison said this when he created the light bulb, right? He was interviewed by, some lady had interviewed him, right? And it's actually in my book, right? The Blueprint to Success. I talk about it. It's actually in the book. And basically, it took Thomas Edison 1,000 times to create the invention of the light bulb. And so the question that was brought to him by this, let's just say editor or interviewer, was, how does it feel to have failed 1,000 times? So it's about perception. So he turns around and answers it this way. It's not the fact that I failed 1,000 times. It just took me 1,000 different processes to come up with the right one. That created the light bulb.
Yeah.
So it was a shift in perception. Because if I let you dictate the words that you say to me, dictate how I'm gonna live my life, then guess what? I'm always gonna live my life by somebody else's terms. So I have to get to the point to where I'm okay with being okay. And everything is, we just came out of Mental Awareness Month, I think was last month, right?
Man, to be honest with you,
or is it this month?
Mental Awareness Month is every month.
Yeah.
Be real.
You're right. Yeah.
When you talking about shifting momentums and progression, trust me.
Yeah.
When you're going 75 miles per hour and you get knocked down to 50, everything get knocked down to 50.
Yeah.
How you think, your emotions,
everything.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
When I was
It's good stuff, man. Yeah.
Hey,
great questions, man.
Everything get knocked down to 50, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you were here and then you get put back, let's say you were on your own at one point and you had a car and you were married, then let's say you get divorced, then your car get repoed and you living back at your parents' house and you don't think you finna be feeling the same way? No.
Yeah.
You got actually you got knocked down to 25 school zone. School zone mode.
Really? Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like your mental capacity changes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it changes, bro. So you gotta rebuild that thing back up to boost that speed back up. It's part of the progression.
Which momentum is kind of like a double-edged sword. So you can gain momentum, but you can also lose momentum.
Yeah.
And I give you 2 examples. One, when it goes on the lines of afraid to fail. Like you will stay in that thought transition of what you did in the past that worked for you and that was grand, and you won't do anything else to try to progress because you're stuck back there because you're like, man, I did it like this, but man, I'm not doing this. And that comes to what you were saying. Yeah. When how do I get from 50 to that? It's like you're losing momentum, but they have to understand that momentum is always accessible. Like you don't have to just, I done lost Momentum.
Hold up. Hold up. You not just gonna run past that like you ain't say a bar, man.
That was a bar, yeah.
But momentum is always, and that's the importance.
Momentum is always accessible.
It's always accessible.
Wow.
And that's the importance of who you surround yourself
Wow.
with. Because they will always put and then instill into you, hey, you
Right.
can do it. No,
Right.
I can't. You can do it.
Right.
No, I can't. You can do it.
Right.
No, I can't. You can do it. Hey, I did it.
Right.
It may take 1,000 times.
Right.
But at 1,001 times, that's all that matters.
Right.
And I would rather fail 1,000 times than not to try it all.
That's right. That's right. And it goes back to also, man, what was going in my mind while y'all was talking was, I don't know if y'all, I can't think of the guy's name, but he has a young men's mentorship program, black guy, right? And he uses martial arts to teach them, different points about life. And it was a viral video that he had that went viral, where he was showing this young kid how to break through barriers.
Yep.
And so what happened was, it was his turn to break the board. And so he, and he didn't break the board the first couple of hits. So the coach, the trainer is telling him, come on, keep going, you got it. He's, board don't break. And so he's still, but each time it's getting weaker and weaker because he's seeing that the board ain't breaking, now it's starting to hurt. And so now, there comes a point in the time in the activity where the guy says, come on. And then he goes to punch, but he flinches before he even actually punches. Because he's already afraid that he's not going to break it because it's already been proven that he can't break it.
Or maybe, and I don't know why the kid flinched, but maybe he was thinking about the pain that was finna happen when his fist hit that wood again.
Exactly. That was going to be my next point.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the trainer said.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the trainer said. He said, hold up. He stopped. So he stopped everything, and everybody's watching because he's always using these learning lessons to pivot stuff. Yeah. And so he's like, so he gets down on one knee. He say, young man. He say, no, it's okay. So he starts to cry, right? And first of all, he says, it's okay to cry because see, we as men, we teach our men, you don't supposed to cry. No, then we become emotionally wrecks out here trying to lead families, and it don't work. But first of all, he acknowledges the fact that the kid is in pain. So then he acknowledges the fact that it's okay to be in pain, but let's talk about it. Exactly. So he say it's starting to get painful for you. That's why you flinch. He said because you're flinching before, so you're not even getting a full range arm extension to even have a powerful punch to break the board. Number one, because you're punching afraid because of the pain that you feel. So he's sniffing. He was like, yes sir. So he's like, okay, and then he goes back to what we were talking about. He accessed his momentum through the young man, and he says, all right. He said, listen, it's okay. I understand. He said, but sometimes, basically, I'm putting it in my own words, it's okay that it's going to hurt, but basically, this is what we have to get through. So then he begins to instruct him through the process. Guess what happens? He talks him, he picks him back up. I say, okay, now let's go. After that coaching session, guess what happened? Even though the pain still was going to be there, the kid broke the board. So then it goes back to what you were saying, surrounding yourself by people that can feed into you that are not yes people.
Exactly.
They will force you to grow not because they're imposing their will upon you, but because you see what's happening in their life and how they're growing, how they're handling their relationships, how they handle adversity. I want that. So how can you want something that you're not going to be around? You can't say that you want something and then go the opposite direction.
It don't work like that.
It don't work like that. Exactly. So especially if you're talking about, momentum and moving forward. So everybody wants to be successful.
Exactly.
But everybody doesn't want to put in the work, to be successful. And that's getting through adversity and the pain.
Like a couple of minutes ago, you were talking about, I think it was you, like 5 minutes ago, you said something about not stopping, like not stopping. Like when you stopping, that's not something about stopping.
Yeah,
right?
stopping is quitting.
Stopping. Okay.
Yeah, when you stop, you quit. But when you shift, it's just a change of gears.
Check this out.
Yeah.
This is crazy, right? So I had when I first, cause my first time ever rapping in public was in church. And I feel like God reminded me of that a couple of days ago. I was in my dad's kitchen. He like sent a flash like in my head of one of my childhood brothers named Andrew Sanders. He a drummer. He was on the drums. And we was, cause you know churches, they take, if they're not writing material for their church, they would take material from other churches or other singers and sing it for the congregation. So we had a youth event, and this is at Peace Missionary Baptist Church in Tampa. So I was, and it was a newer song back then where he had some rapping in it. So Franny, she was like, "Said we want you to do the rapping part since you the rapper." All right. So you know how you do the choir thing, you have to learn all the lyrics. So I'm practicing, bro. I went out there. That light was on. It was 100 people in there. Forgot all the lyrics.
Wow.
So I had to freestyle. So I freestyled my whole verse.
Wow.
And they was jamming. So afterwards, they was like, "You was jamming, but that wasn't the lyrics." But you was jamming. Right. So, all right. So look. So after then, as I got older, I started doing. I'm a tight end. I started doing secular music. You know what I'm saying? So after I got married to my ex-wife, and I gave my life back to the Lord, I stopped rapping. I completely stopped. I didn't rap for like 2 years. I ain't do no music. I ain't work on no beats. I didn't listen to any secular artists. I had like the purge, right? Yeah. But after my brother-in-law Nate, shouts out to Nate, hold your head, well, so he like discipled me into it. You know what I'm saying? So I had to stop to get back into it. You know what I'm saying? So God like created, I guess I want to say like he created a new path. Like, yo, I want you back on this track. I want you back on this route.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop you. But just cause you stop don't mean God plan stop. He's moving. Right. He's like 50 miles ahead, bro. So even though he paused me in my tracks, he was orchestrating way ahead of me what I didn't see. You know what I'm saying? So just cause you stop, like, if you have to pause, you have to pause. Do what you have to do.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But God is still moving, though. God's still moving, bro.
And sometimes we're afraid to pause because we feel like we're gonna the fear of missing out on something.
Yep.
Right.
And that's something I had to learn and adjust to.
Look what they doing.
Yeah.
They on
and
vacation.
it's so easy to get
They
caught up
buying
into
cars.
it.
They look happy. You don't know what they're going through. Bro.
Right. It's, you know, it could be portraying just
You don't know,
like,
like, you
social
don't know how
media.
they're living behind closed
Exactly.
doors.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know how their alignment is. Like, they might be good this way, but here it's like, God, like, hold on, where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's popping off.
Right.
Like, we just having real spill convo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what happened with Deion Sanders. That's when
The B2S podcast is brought to you by No Grind, No Glory Apparel, R828 edition. It's a reminder to stay strong, to be courageous, to stop your fears, and to feed your faith. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart, just know that you were born to stand out and make an impact. Head over exclusively to www.nogrindnoglory.net and grab you some merch as a daily reminder that all things work together.
That's when he finally give his life back to God. I mean, the man had houses, cars, women, anything he want, but he still felt empty. Yeah. And was in the process of committing suicide when he had an encounter. And so that's a prime example. When you look at Deion and look at the difference that he's making right now, and not just right now, but up to leading to right now, it's phenomenal. Man, when we went to that 360 men's conference, bro, Deion shut it down.
Shifted the whole atmosphere.
Shifted the whole building. You talking about 4,000 or 5,000 alpha males in one building. Yeah. Not just men, I'm talking about alpha males.
Oh yeah. I feel you.
And when Dion got up on stage, you felt a shift in the atmosphere. It wasn't no hype. It wasn't no gimmick. It was none of that. If you was at the least discerning spiritually, you would recognize that a shift came in when he hit that stage.
Oh yeah.
And so when you look at stuff like that, like, yeah, because it's easy to portray like you have it all together.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you can have all the money, the cars, and the fame, but at the end of the day, are you walking in purpose? He wasn't walking in purpose. Now he feels he's walking in purpose, and look at the difference in his life just these last couple of years from the time that he's accepted that call and turned his life around up to now. It didn't just happen at Jackson State.
Nope.
It happened on the way to Jackson State.
It's a process.
It was a process, you know what I'm saying? And so, and look at it now. So we definitely can't get caught up in looking at other people's, highlight reel.
Yeah.
Facts.
'Cause that's pretty much what it is.
So progression is needed for momentum.
Exactly.
It's a part of it.
Exactly.
So whether you slow down, whether you yield,
Right.
or it's
Yeah.
needed. If it's needed for you, it's needed for you.
Yeah. And listen to this right here. Even if you stop, right? Because you in traffic, right?
Mm-hmm.
The red light don't stay red forever.
Exactly.
That's true, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it lets ongoing traffic get to where they got to go. So at the end of the day, sometimes you have to stop. And sometimes that ongoing traffic is what you needed. Oh, man. Because, prime example, right? When pastor gave me the responsibility of being a youth pastor, right?
Right.
I didn't know what that. I had no clue. No idea. Right? So, but in prayer and meditating and different things like that, God began to like woo me in a certain direction. So I was like, oh man, I had it, but I didn't have it. It's like if I could see it, I knew what it was, and then I could put something together. But till then, it was like it's like I know it, but I don't know it. And he kept telling me about this group, the basement. Was it the basement?
Yep. Matt Pitt in the basement.
Yeah, and but this guy was up under Matt Pitt in the basement over in Tampa.
And, Unleashed.
Unleashed. That's yeah.
Donnie.
Yeah, that's what it. And so every time he would go, I would always have something already, or even just maybe didn't feel like going. So one night he hits me up and say, man, hey, I'm going to Unleashed tonight, man. You want to go? So I was like, yeah, man, I'll roll. So I rolled, right? Now, and I'm painting this picture because even though it may look like I've stopped, and I may have, but it's like I'm stopping, but picture yourself in the car. You stop, but you still have to be mindful when that light turn green because you got to go.
Yep. You can't just sit there.
Right. So you just stop because the momentum shifted for a moment to the other cars. And so now, long story short, I get there. I'm looking at their whole form. I'm like, how in the world? I'm like, they got this building. Kids everywhere. I'm talking everywhere.
Wall to wall.
Wall to wall.
Front to
Cars everywhere. Kids driving themselves to a youth church service by themselves.
Yeah.
No parents.
Done.
Like, who is this guy? And I'm watching it, man, and the format, I'm like, man, this is dope. I mean, he got the praise and worship, he got the rap, he got the fog machine, he got everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, they coming in, they're doing skits in between sessions, and then he hits them with the message. And I'm like, and I'm sitting in my chair, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, that's it.
Yep.
That's it. See, I stopped, but in my stop, I'm watching the traffic. And me watching the traffic, that led me to my next move. Yep. So even though I had stopped, me watching the traffic by going to this event, that picture gave me the image that I couldn't explain within my spirit. And so once I got into the atmosphere of the image, I was able to put two and two together. And then I was like, that's what I'm looking for. Because it was a mixture of everything. It was a mixture of evangelism. It was a mixture of pastoralship. It was a mixture of being trailblazing. It was a mixture of rap. It was a mixture of contemporary. It was a mixture of everything. And I didn't want to just be urban. I didn't want to just be CCM. I wanted to be a mixture of everything. But I couldn't put it in words. And so I stopped to let the ongoing traffic do what they do. that led me to my next phase and what I was supposed to do. So even though you may have to stop, you're still gaining momentum as long as you don't just stop and not do nothing. Because even though I didn't understand what I needed to do, I still, like y'all said, I still was moving though. Exactly. And then that progressive movement led me to a place called Unleash, which gave me the blueprint to the basis and the foundation of the youth ministry that we have right now. And so y'all been a part of the Transformers. It be live.
Yeah.
That's where all that stuff came from.
Yeah.
And I remember, now I'll let y'all have the flow, and I didn't know, Pastor didn't tell me this for years. Like, because when God gave me the idea, I just knew I wanted to be like, this is early 2000s, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to bring the club to the church, because we ain't going to the church, we ain't going to the club. That was my thought process, but it was like, how am I going to do this? So when I saw that, that's the first thing. So I asked, hey, Pastor, can I go get some fog machine? He was like, yeah. And I went and got me like some fog machine. I almost smoked the people out of the building one service.
Yeah,
and I had
that fog is strong.
I had to back off.
They work.
Yeah, they work.
They work.
Yeah, that fog is strong.
My wife got me when I got to like, babe, you gotta lay out the fog machine. But we had a big event one time, and it was a situation like that. Kids came, adults came, brought the kids. We was packed, bro. Standing room.
Yep.
And Pastor didn't tell me this for years. He didn't tell me this when it first happened. He told me this later. But that gave me the courage and the encouragement to keep going, because that was the vision, regardless of what people thought, regardless of the ridicule that we was getting, because we was getting ridiculed.
Yeah.
But God gave me that vision, and it worked. Because I didn't know, while I'm catering to everybody that was in there, making sure everything is running straight, Pastor's in there, he's watching everything as he always do. And he notices a young lady that goes outside from the church service, picks up her phone and calls her friends and say, child, y'all need to get here, man. They balling up in here. They got this place like a club. And that's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what I was going for, but in a Christian type, positive manner.
She said,
yeah.
Y'all better
Bro,
get
that put
out
me on
there.
cloud nine, bro. Because that was the whole purpose of me doing what I wanted to do. Because they saw us faith-based people, Christian people, as boring.
yeah.
Right.
So it wasn't the fact of me proving to y'all that we're not boring. It was the fact that this is the vision that God gave me to show y'all that we do things on the right side of the track. We're not perfect, but there are things that we can do that will enhance, and you ain't got to go home with a hangover. You ain't got to wonder like, who was that person laying next to you because you done had too many to drink or you too high. No, you can come in there and you can get a high of what God has to offer. And so, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when he gave me that, I was kind of leery. I ain't going to lie to you. But at the end of the day, I'm the type, when I know God is wooing me or telling me something, that people that know me, they'll tell you. I'm like a pit bull. Once I sink my teeth into something, it's a done deal.
So especially you saying like when you was there, God had you at a yielding point, so you can, cause you know when you moving, when you're driving, you're focused on what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you're stopped somewhere, you focused on everything around you. So, so you saying that God has you at a point to where you was yielded or stopped to put you in an atmosphere of momentum. Oh, how they, let me see. Oh, okay. So that's how they doing it. Oh, okay, but you can't pay attention if you zooming.
Exactly.
You can't soak nothing up if you are on the go.
Exactly.
Yep.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was to help them shift their minds and perspective of what they've seen before. Because it's easy to stay stuck in something, use that as an excuse not to be open to something that's new. Because it's easy to ridicule something you don't understand. But we have to understand and be okay with it. Ain't meant for everybody else to understand.
Right.
It's just meant for us to be obedient to what God showed us and what the vision is and keep moving. He'll bring the people, the resources, the provision, the thought process, the ideas, the blueprint, the layout, everything.
Yeah.
We just got to say yes. That's it.
So, okay, so give me an example to where this is good. Okay, so just if you want to be, so give me an example in like in your personal life to where God has you like at a yellow light so you can like sit and look so he can show you how he wants you to move next? Like one of those, like what's one of those times or instances? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I continuously have those moments. Real World Records. That was like one of the first moments because
Yeah, speak on that, Real World. Yeah, speak on that.
it showed me how to move as a label. It's one thing to see everybody else and to see how their blueprint is. You see Reach Records, you see Lamp Mode at the time, you see E1. So you look at all these different labels and Ty Scott Records, like all of this. So you have a form of it, but it's not obtainable until you actually get with people that surround you, put you in that space. So the first time was like there and just seeing how to, okay, this is how we move as an artist. This is how you move as a label owner, manager, how to do emails, marketing, the whole nine. So just doing that and constantly progressing, because for me, I felt like, man, I was the manager, I was the artist, I was the marketing promoter, I was this, that, and the third, but I had to become those things to learn those things. So where I'm at, I can run like a full label now. I know about marketing, PR, emailing, managing, you know what I'm saying, promotion, social media. So all those moments that we have to pay attention to and stop and slow down and see, like really grasp the moment. So you don't have to always, man, I want to be on the stage. Like, okay, everybody want to be a rapper. Who want to be the manager? Who want to help be the promoters? Like this is stuff we need. This is why our genre doesn't progress as much as it could, because we don't have promoters, because everybody want to be on the stage. Nobody want to be a servant and you know, just to be a buck with you. But it's by serving other people because they feel like they're going to miss out on something.
Right.
But you're not going to miss out on something, because when you slow down and you yield, you know what position you play. It's like, you know what, okay. Okay. I can peep this right here. So I'm going to go, and you won't mind playing that part because you see God open your eyes to something there. So that means if I go to that spot, he going to open my eyes to something else.
Right.
And it's going to come back full circle. So now I know how to run a label.
Right.
Flawless.
Man, bro.
What about you, my love? Like, what's the time to where God has you, like, other than that time, to where he has you, like, yellow light, to where you, like, had to, like, he can give you the slow down so you can kind of see, like, a different perspective, or to how he wants you to shift your momentum? Like, what's that time?
Doing this right here. I mean, I don't think it's coincidence that we're just starting like right now, because this has been in the works for years.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But when you look at what was going on, I knew I wanted to do it with y'all too, my homies. You know what I'm saying? My brother, my brother from another mother. You know what I'm saying? Because we close, we tight. You know what I'm saying? And this is just stuff we've said in each of our house. And just dialogue like this, we be like, man, we need to start a podcast. It's some good stuff you share. You know what I'm saying? So even though, cause like you was doing your thing, I was still moving in my arena, and then he was moving in his arena, but he was already on 2 or 3 podcasts at the time with other people.
Yeah.
So it's like, me, I'm a realist. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at how they moving. So see, I'm yielding. I'm at the yellow light. I'm at the stoplight. I'm looking at how they're moving. Okay, well, this might not be the right time, because all 3 of us is pulled in totally 3 different directions. So, you know, it's always saying that you can find the time to do what you really desire, and that's true. But at the end of the day, some things isn't really beneficial for you to do just because you can do it. You know what I'm saying? So I just took the back seat and just like, you know what, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. And so I'm watching y'all still do y'all thing. I'm still doing my thing. You know, some of the times we have a conversation, we going through the same thing at the same time. Having them conversations, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like I was in that yield position. I was in that stoplight position to where I still had the vision, but like the scripture tells us, the vision is for an appointed time. And in the end, it's going to speak. So guess what I did during that time? You know, I'm watching and listening to other podcasts. How they moving, how they shaking, what they doing, what I like maybe about them that I may want to add, and what I don't like. How do I want to move? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even though I'm still moving, because I'm observing like you are. You at the stoplight. You observing. So guess what? I'm observing how's the world moving. Because like it's just like now everything runs in wave. Like a lot of people starting podcasts now. Even before this one, I was just watching different people, even start their podcasts, which is great. We've been started talking about this. It just wasn't the right time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that gives you in that space where you just learn what you can learn. Mm-hmm. And then take what you can learn, and then at some point you got to get started. Because one of my other best homies, he told me, he's like, man, and I was working on something. He said, man, Mike, he said, boy, you'll study the dog got something, bro. Just get started. He's like, man, you study the dog out of something, man. Just get out there and jump and just get started, man. And so, yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, we even in that mode, you got to know when to pull back. Because when you jump off that plane, guess what? The instructor can't pull the drawstring for you. You have to pull the drawstring for yourself.
Yeah, true.
He might kick you out the plane.
And I want to add to that, like, we're going to get to yours too.
Okay.
But, like, we may feel like we're not doing nothing or feeling like as much as we could. But I'll give you an example when it comes to social media presence. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times we think we don't have enough content when we actually do. So I think about you. Mm-hmm. You have plenty of content. Though you felt like at times, sometimes nothing was happening.
Right.
Things were still happening because you have content to post to make things happen.
Right.
And then you would see things trickle down. And it'd be like a snowball effect.
Right.
Same with me. At the time, I felt like, man, I ain't put out music in this long. It's like a single maybe every 2 or 3 years. But outside, people are like, man, you have a beast mode of a social media presence. And I'm thinking in my head, man, I only got this amount of songs.
Right.
Like, but sometimes you can't look at it from just the perspective of your gift.
Right.
You got to look at it from the perspective of your presence.
Wow.
So when you're on social media, though you feel like nothing happening, you still got content to post to be present and still be in the now.
Right.
So I just want to add that, like, don't look at your gift. That's just one end of the spectrum. You got a whole nother, you got a voice, man. You're not just about music, but you're about people.
Right.
So when you about people, you'll always have something to talk about and encourage and inspire people to do.
That's good.
Always.
That's good, bro.
That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, let's
What
put that question. It was your moment, bro.
So mine was a little different. So when I moved, like this is like it's like some family stuff. So when I moved back, condolences, you already know, moms, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dad, you already know that. So
Same
Appreciate
to you,
it,
bro.
bro. Same.
you already know,
you.
you already know.
Yeah.
And I had to say that because maybe they don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those that don't know, me and Doug, we lost our mom last year, unexpectedly and suddenly, and then not too long after that, bro lost his father.
A couple of weeks after.
Yeah.
Like
Literally.
Yeah.
So go ahead, bro.
All right, so when so now I'm back at the family residence, right? So I'm there, and my stepmom, she's a widow, right? So I'm there. It's me, grandma, and stepmom, 2 beautiful older women and a young male. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in like this rebuilding block stage, you know. So we gonna say it like that. You dig what I'm saying? So shouts out to moms and grandma. Shouts out to moms and grandma. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So everybody deal with stuff differently. You know what I'm saying? So I have my moments. She have her moments. Grandma have her moments. So I'm back at a different type of starting point. So dealing with a person who is widowed is different. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm asking God, like, I want to know, like, what do I need to say? What do I need to whatever? So I was praying one morning, and then he led me to 1 Timothy. Timothy talks about widows. Well, the Apostle Paul was talking to Timothy to tell the people, this is how, or this is what I want you to teach the people. Tell the people and how they should deal with widows. And in there he was I don't want to get it wrong, you know what I'm saying? So just, it's in there, 1 Timothy. You know what I'm saying? It's in there. Maybe like chapter 5 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? We talks about widows. So what classifies a woman as a widow? A person older 66 or 65. A person who's under 65 or 66. You know what I'm saying? So, and for the family members of a person who is widow, what do I need to be doing? He like, you need to be doing this. If people are in the church, if it's a woman or a group of women who are tending to people or women who are widow, let them keep doing what they're doing for them, so the church can have capacity and room for other stuff and other matters.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out what to do. And I'm at like a yield, and then he let me right there, and I read it. Oh, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. But if I wouldn't have been reaching out, like God, what do I need to do? I'm feeling crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many emotions going on. The tension is a different. It's not a beef tension. It's an emotional tension. It's a, you know what I'm saying? It's a spiritual tension that you can feel. So
It's like uneasy.
it's uneasy.
Yeah.
It's real uneasy, right? So if I'm reaching out, God, like, yo, this is what it is right here. So I had to like, and I was working 2 jobs, me working, doing this, and thinking like, okay, well, she'll be okay. No, like, okay, let me stop, get on my face. Let me yield, get on my face, what I need to do. But this is what it is, son. Bam. So that was like one of the most things for me, like recently.
Yeah.
I got thousands of other ones, but that was the one of the most things that I can really say that I had to like stop. I had to stop my agenda, stop what I was doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To get what I need to get, so I can create a new momentum. And it's not just momentum. Is not just about like upping the game and getting your car. It could be a relationship. It could be losing weight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It could be whatever you need to do. Like, it could be something completely different. It was just that. That was just one of the things that was pulling on me. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's where I'm at currently in my life. So everything is personal but different. But everybody is in different places. You dig what I'm saying? So like, wherever you at, you might need a momentum in this area in your life. You know what I'm saying? It could be vacuuming your car.
Right.
God could need you to up your momentum in your stewardship. While your clothes on the floor, you don't wash clothes and dry them, and they've been in the basket for 2 weeks. You need to change that.
Right. That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but you want a new wardrobe though.
Right. That's facts.
Take care of what you got.
You know what I'm saying? So you could have to like up your game and progress in that area. So that was the main thing for me. When I had to basically, the yield was I had to stop trying to make myself busy. And stop like, God, like, I know you see her. God, like, I know you see her. I know you feel this, and you still ain't came to me. You can't handle this on your own. You don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And you can't judge when somebody act how they act, or you can't judge if somebody going through what they're going through. That's not your job to judge. But what you need to do is holler at me, because I know what's going on. You dig what I'm saying? So I had to yield. I had to like, yo, God, what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ins and outs.
Yeah. That's good, man. And that's and you said a mouthful, man, because at the end of the day, you know, to make the world a better place, man, if everybody would seek to be understood instead of trying to be sought to be, you know, for you to understand me, it'll bring a whole lot of light to a dark situations.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, that's a fight. You look at it, man, y'all need to understand my point. You need to understand my point of view. You need to understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, you know, that's all good. But at the end of the day, can you understand where I'm coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like you was just saying, everybody's in a different place at different times. Are you okay with that?
Bro, you can live in a house with 4 people. Y'all can live in the same house, and y'all be in different worlds.
And everybody in different worlds. Yeah. And then we're fighting each other because we're all in different worlds and we don't understand that.
So if y'all don't understand each other, or if the vibe is off in the house, the momentum in the house is gonna be off.
Exactly.
The progression in the house is gonna be off.
Exactly.
The fruit in the house is gonna be
Exactly.
off.
Exactly.
You dig what I'm saying? It's crazy.
And that's why you have friction in the workplace.
Yeah.
That's why you have friction on athletic teams.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? That
I'm laughing because like this morning I had an incident right at the job. One of the security dudes, like we become tight, so he was like,
Which one?
the
bald head one?
No.
Oh, okay.
Crew cut.
Okay, yeah.
And so we chop it up. He was like, "You see that girl right there?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "She don't never talk to me." I say, "Hi," but she never say nothing. She just walk.
That's a lot of them.
I say, "Well, bro," I said, "People are where they are, and you know, you just keep warming up to them. They'll eventually." Because I said it was one girl. I would always say, "Good morning." She would walk past me like she ain't see nothing. Like it's just only her now. And now it's to the point where she beat me saying good morning. So it's just like, if you just show yourself to be open and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like I go out my way to speak to people because I don't know what people dealing with.
Right.
So I go out my way and be like, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning, good morning."
Right.
So it's like, and I can literally feel God's energy just like emerging in the hospital, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And you can see the change of people who wouldn't even say one word to me, and I was like, "Hey, how
Right.
you doing?"
Right.
It just take time.
Right.
Just like you say, understand somebody, like take the time to get to know what they're doing, how they feeling, what's going on with them, why they are like that. Again, they don't have people around them that are not yes men or just be like, "I ain't dealing with that." Like you got to have a certain type of work ethic.
And then, bro, this crazy
character.
too. If, man, we talking about responsibility. Look, if a person is not where you're at and they're not trying to be where you're at, it's almost like it's your job to understand where they're at, even if they not trying to get on your level.
Right.
Just so you can be not now.
It's not the fact of being on your level. It's the fact of being in a progressive state.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that listeners understand where we're coming from. So,
Yeah.
because, nobody's not better than anybody, but it just, everybody's in a different way of a progressive state. And so when you got somebody that just don't want nothing out of life, they just willing to accept whatever comes their way, then, you have to determine what you want in your space. So if that's going to be a downer for you, then you have to cut that off. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's not saying that you're better than the other person, but you got to protect your energy. Because at the end of the day, if their draining energy is going to bring your life energy down, you don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and your momentum is going to go down.
Exactly. And if they want to stay a drained battery and they don't want to be revived, then at the end of the day, you do you, boo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes,
yeah.
Go ahead, bro. Not to cut you off.
Oh, no. That's it.
I was just gonna say, sometimes it's also just in that area what you see, because sometimes if they're low in that area, but they could be better in another area that you may be lacking too. So it just all depends on what area they're in, and what place and space they're in.
Yeah.
And you just work with what you got.
Yeah.
All right, so Mike. All right. 3 things. Give us 3 things that we can put in motion to help us get our momentum up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the from your perspective? Because you are a motivational speaker. You're a teacher. You're an author. So this is what you do. Like, personal development is what you do. You dig what I'm saying? So give us 3 tangible things that we can use right now. You know what I'm saying? That'll help us speed up our momentum. Like, what are those? You would say it's probably more than 3, but you can give us 3 basic things. Like, what are the 3 things that we can use? You know what I'm saying? Anybody, young or old, that we can put in motion and help us, you know what I'm saying, speed up.
Create momentum. All right. Basically, man, we can just take those things from what we discussed the whole time. All right. Number 1, I believe, is very important to anything. Is acknowledgement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
AKA,
can't conquer what you don't confront, and you can't confront what you don't identify.
Self-awareness.
There you go.
Yeah.
You understand? So whether it's good or bad, you have to acknowledge that. Because even if it's good, but you're looking for better, you have to acknowledge that, hey, I'm not performing at my best. So what do I need to do? So you have to do a self-assessment. to be okay. So it's okay to be where you at. You know, if it's a bad spot, you have to be okay. I know I'm in a bad spot. Okay, now that I know that I'm in a bad spot, what am I in a bad spot in? If I'm in a bad spot financially, then number one, I have to acknowledge I'm in a bad spot financially. Then if I'm in a bad spot financially, okay, why am I in a bad spot financially? You know, am I not making the money that I need to make to compensate for my bills? You know, then you basically you ask yourself a series of questions. And then once you ask yourself those series of questions, you answer those questions, and then you create the blueprint to get you out of that situation.
Gotcha.
So number one, I would say definitely acknowledgement, because that's dealing with your mindset.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Acknowledgement. Okay.
And then number two is, once you acknowledge that, then you take that acknowledgement, the answers from the acknowledgement, and then you put a plan in place.
Okay.
So that's the action part. So because after you acknowledge the fact, you just can't not do nothing, right? Yeah. And so you have to put that in action. Well, what is it? Even if it's just getting up 30 minutes earlier just for meditation. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised of what 1 degree will do. 1 degree will not cause water to boil. 1 degree, bro. One degree, not 2, not 3. 1 degree will cause water to not boil. So those little minor changes that we think that may not be important is very important.
Very important.
Because 1 degree shifts the temperature of the water and cause it to boil where it wasn't boiling before. So to say that I'd just be stuck on acknowledgement and not do nothing, well, I'm doing something by acknowledging the problem. No, you acknowledge the problem. Yeah, you did something in that, but now you gotta acknowledge that in the form of a plan.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And then now once you formulate that plan, what you can't do is get complacent. Okay. And so once you done the work, you got the work in there. Now I think that third part is not putting yourself in a position to be complacent, because your time is going to change. And so once you acknowledge that one thing about change, bro, change is inevitable.
Oh yeah.
Even when things are going good. And so even though you've acknowledged the fact, and then you put that plan together, right? So everything needs to be on a progressive state. So I just say number 3, you just got to keep that continuous momentum. And that continuous momentum could be anything, because, like I said, your life is going to change. And so once you have the blueprint, I'm a principle guy, right? I tell people this all the time. I'm a principle guy. I live by principle. I don't live by strategy, right? Because my strategy is based off my principle. Yeah. And I'm going to explain that, and then we're going to close this first segment down, right? Because I can teach you how to budget a book, right? I can teach you how to add, multiply, subtract, and divide, right? But it takes you to develop the mindset, to develop the discipline
to do it,
to stick to the budget.
Right.
Because if your rent is $1,000 a month, right, and your groceries is $500 a month, and you calculating this stuff up, and then now you're still popping bottles, but you're saying you want to be financially sound, you're still, doing things of an unnecessary state, right? You're still doing that because it's not necessary. That means you haven't developed the mindset to be disciplined to do what you need to do, right? So that stops your momentum. And so so that's strategy, right? Principle is, I'm going to read maybe a Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or enroll in the Dave Ramsey program.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's principle. Yeah. Because now I believe in order for me to get better and do better, I have to put myself in a position where better is. You see what I'm saying? So that's my principle. So that when y'all say I'm big on personal development, I'm big on both personal and spiritual development, because you can't live without neither one of them. So at the end of the day, that's my principle. You're not gonna catch me working on a Sunday. That's my principle. I won't take a job on a Sunday. That's my principle. Now I may go speak at another church or another event. But I rarely had a job in my lifetime where I rarely worked on a Sunday. Early on as a teenager, I probably did. But once I really got into because it's just that important to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm a principle guy. So at the end of the day, when you create that continuous momentum, I say, develop principles. Let the strategies take care of themselves, because the strategies are everywhere, but not everybody lives by principle. So if my principle is I want to live a good life, then guess what? that's going to show up in area of my life. That's going to show up in my finances. That's going to show up in how I deal with my kids. That's going to show up in how I deal with my spouse.
Yep.
Because you can tell me, I remember this one show where E.T. was talking about, the guy asked him about what, he's having a problem with his marriage.
Yeah.
Right? E.T. like, man, he get up, he iron his wife clothes. He do the stuff that most men won't do. So when he went to check up on the dude, guess what? Things were still the same. Why? Because
discipline.
he didn't see the importance or the principles that E.T. was trying to teach him. It wasn't about me getting up, ironing my clothes. At the end of the day, if somebody gonna come into my house, it's gonna be hard for you to come into my house, bro. Because I'm gonna do something you ain't willing to do. And it ain't got nothing to do with the bedroom. Because that's only a momentary satisfaction. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, he paused, man.
I had to, bro, because you know what I'm saying. It's principle. When you talk about principle, you talking about an intangible.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Strategy is a tangible.
Before he said that, he made sure he said it right there.
Yeah, yeah. We had to bring that one home. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
So acknowledgement, do the work,
Facts.
and create a plan that's going to create continuous progression by developing principles for yourself. Because see, every job has a code of conduct.
Exactly. Ooh, that's
Whether they train you or they show you the book, every job has a code of conduct. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. This is what we're willing to put up with.
Yo,
This is what we're not willing to put up with.
look. It's deeper than that. We look at it as a job. They look at it as this is my system. This is my infrastructure.
Exactly.
That makes sure that brings me success.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
having a job, and so we look
Exactly.
at it. We look at it as it's my job. The reason why they have rules and you can't stand them
Yep.
and stuff like that is because to them this is our system.
Yeah.
This is
And-
our
and that's better put.
infrastructure.
That's better put.
That makes sure that we
Yep.
get
Yep.
rich. That makes sure that
Yep.
we
feed our
We
families.
take
Feed
care of
our
what needs to be
family.
done.
Feed the families
Yep.
that's
That's
working
it.
with us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, bro. That's it, man. And so man, we gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up, man.
Yo,
And
tell
man,
me
it's
what
been
is-
great, man. This first episode been fire.
Listen, this is a grand opening of
Man.
momentum.
I love it.
And
Power
that's gonna keep
momentum.
going.
Yeah. So listen, man, this has been the Blueprint to Success podcast. And we hope you guys have enjoyed the dialogue that we've had. We got some more stuff fire coming, man. So just be on the lookout.
Hey, where can they go to look at that though? Like the YouTube channel.
So, you can go to my YouTube channel, man. It's up on the Michael Mariner. Last name is Mariner, Shift Motivator. You can look at it. It's going to be on all digital platforms that whole podcast, so you can get the whole ordeal from there. And also go check out my new book, The Blueprint to Success. Students Guideline for Successful Living. And a student, you don't necessarily have to be in college or in school. So it's both for the academic student, but it's also for people like you and myself that are listening to this broadcast or watching this broadcast on YouTube that they call themselves a forever learner student, to where you're always learning even as an adult. So we have some stuff in there for you as well. So don't just get stuck on the title. But we also have our collaborative project, the Blueprint to Success Mixtape, on all digital platforms. Go download it, go stream it, put it in your repertoire. I'm sure there's something on there that you will enjoy. I got a lot of great feedback from both projects, and so it's been doing pretty good. So man, y'all help us out, man. Go cop that.
And if it's something that y'all don't enjoy, leave it in the comments. Like,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. Like, hey
yeah.
man, we think this could have been better or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, most definitely. That's the part of growth, man. So, So at the end of the day, man, this has been the Blueprint to Success podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Till the next time we meet, we'll see you at the top, because the bottom is way too crowded. And remember this right here: if you think different and be different, you'll have the opportunity to live different. And we'll see you on the other side of success. God bless.